A city at sea, 5,000 Americans, 260 days at sea, with broken toilets, moldy showers, stretches where there was no hot water, laundry rooms were locked for weeks, and food ran incredibly low. And the Secretary of Defensiveness had the gall, the nerve, the audacity to say that all of the reporting on it, quote, completely misrepresented what's going on out there. Meanwhile, a United States senator is jumping up and down showing text messages from the people on the ship as proof. And that senator is Ruben Gallego, a war Marine from Iraq. He posted that he has been in contact with a spouse who is forwarding him her husband's messages from the USS Abraham Lincoln. His quote, "Stop lying and fix the problem." I mean, Pete Hegseth, what the hell are you doing? Your side wraps itself in the flag, yells about supporting the troops, but you're far more concerned with controlling the PR around this disaster than you are with actually supporting the people who sacrifice day in and day out under the leadership of Commander in Bone Spurs and you, Mr. Warrior Ethos Fox News host himself. And by the way, the person who broke open this USS Abraham Lincoln story, it wasn't the Pentagon press corps. It sure as hell wasn't cable news. It was Jared Zisser, the Marine Corps veteran, the former host of this program, one of our own. And he was screaming about this back on May 8th. Yes, he was reporting that a sailor aboard the Lincoln was down from 160 pounds to 128. Quote, "My ribs are showing." Family members saying, quote, "These kids are starving," showing a photo of a nearly empty tray captioned, "This was my breakfast." And that was 3 months ago. Jared put the questions to the Navy back in May and he got silence. And he stayed on the story week after week after week while all the big outlets took months to catch up. And finally, you had voices like Jim Acosta and Midas Touch eventually started amplifying his story right alongside him.
Holy hell, guys, we defeated the White House and the United States Navy yesterday with posts about sailors jumping overboard on the USS Abraham Lincoln. Check this out, guys. People across this country made a lot of noise about what was happening aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln. The news picked it up. Social media exploded. Lawmakers were demanding answers. And in just 24 hours, a massive change.
Jared goes on to share multiple stories of soldiers attempting to jump off the ship after desperately feeling helpless. And so I'll encourage you, go to the take, go follow Jared Zisser on his Substack. This story is in the daylight because of his independent reporting, and he refused to put it down. Now, eventually, Stars and Stripes and the Navy Times both started talking to sailors and the families, and their reporting described exhaustion, collapsing morale, and a crew that is clearly not okay. One family member said that a provider on board warned the ship needed to reach port before people started losing their minds. Another one told NBC it feels like it was a scene out of a horror show. I mean, look, these are our people, people that are willing to put themselves on the line for our country. They signed up to serve. They've been out there for a record length deployment, and their families are begging for anyone in charge to notice. And their command's response, typical deflection. All because accountability seems to be an allergy to people like Trump and Hegseth and their minions. CENTCOM put out a statement branding the coverage false, a statement that somehow never, not once, got around to addressing the food or the toilets. Now, they did concede that one sailor went overboard, but he was recovered. So all's well, right? As for Senator Gallego, he went on NPR giving the most damning critique of what's going on, about this planning or lack of over the whole deployment. Quote, "They're just kind of winging it," and saying that's not proper leadership. And that right there, that is what pisses me off the most about what's going on in our military. It's why we're not out of Iran. It's why it is so disastrous to have Doug Wilson's little protege running our military, winging it. And I want to ask you, what do you think the Pentagon is actually protecting here? Are they protecting their actual mission, or are they more concerned with protecting the story around the mission? Drop a comment and let me know what you think. But I want to tell you what I think is really going on. This is just my thought here. I think a lot of the money is gone. I think that's why we're seeing these problems. The Pentagon budget picture, I'm guessing, is far worse than any of them are letting on. And this deployment is just a microcosm, a small look of what the desperation looks like from the outside. I mean, the Lincoln is stuck out there because the war Trump started for no reason continues to drag on. Resupply for that ship got complicated after Iran showed that they actually have had the advantage in this stupid war the whole time. And the Pentagon, it cannot get the ship what it needs. And of course, they can't bring it home because that's signaling giving up. So they just leave it out there. Soldiers and sailors starving. And they have the gall to blame the fake news. Then you add that, you couple that with Hegseth going before Congress begging for more money, a lot more money. And then you see the president spending money that Congress has never approved on his ballroom, the security blanket underground underneath the ballroom, that arch, the no-bid contracts all over the place, spending billions to kidnap the president of Venezuela, his family, raking in literal billions. But where the hell is all of that money coming from? None of it's been allocated by Congress. It's just donors, right? I mean, seriously, look at what the White House has tossed to the public just last week. You have the presidential memo saying an American shipbuilding base, it's been atrophied. So now we're going to start buying warships that are built in foreign yards overseas, taking away American jobs. You've already got a $1.85 billion allocation laid out in the next budget just to study that idea. America first, unless we can get Japan or South Korea to do it for us. The America First administration can't build its own frigates at home. And in that same damn memo, the dumbest thing, Trump ordering the Navy to rip out the electromagnetic catapults on carriers and put back steam on a ship that's roughly already half built. The quote, with nearly 50% of production complete, changing course now would introduce significant cost, schedule, and integration risks. And that comes from General Atomics, the contractor building the damn ship. Donald Trump, I mean, he's got serious issues understanding the science of magnets. This is what he said in October 2025.
Hydraulic for your elevators or magnets. You know, the new thing is magnets. So instead of using hydraulic, that you can be hit by lightning and it's fine. You take a little glass of water and you drop it on magnets. I don't know what's going to happen. So, you know, the elevators come up in the new carriers. I think I'm going to change it, by the way. They have magnets. Not every tractor has hydraulic. Every excavator, every excavating machine, of any kind has hydraulic. But somebody decided to use magnets for your elevator. Maybe they're good.
And now look what he says in November of the same year.
Magnets. If China refused to give magnets because they have a monopoly on magnets because they were allowed to happen over a 32-year period, there wouldn't be a car made in the entire world. There wouldn't be a radio. There wouldn't be a television. There wouldn't be internet. There wouldn't be anything because magnets are such a part. Now, nobody knows what magnets are and not overly sophisticated, but to build a magnet system would take 2 years.
But then, by July of this year, he has this to say.
When a little water touches the magnets, it doesn't work anymore. And you're in the Atlantic Ocean with waves that are 60 feet high and the Pacific Ocean with waves that are 70 feet high. And they're talking about magnets. It makes you want to get sick.
Oh, but then 5 minutes later in the same speech, slurring and slurping his way through that speech that he's clearly never read before, he says this.
Electrical power and critical minerals, and I hope you're going to do magnets. Somebody out there, I hope you're all brilliant people. Magnets. Do magnets, okay? I'll tell you how to make money. Do magnets. You're doing a lot of great stuff. Do magnets. Because one thing we don't have, but we're getting close, but do magnets. So I hope John Gray is listening to me so he can give him a couple of bucks and go into the magnet business. I guarantee it's going to be a success.
Magnets. Can't use them. Unreliable. But we also have to invest in them. We'll make money off of them. China does them better than us, but mystically they can't get wet. This is the same guy who informed America that he knows more about grass than any human being on Earth. Great. Now he's the world's leading authority on naval catapult engineering. By the way, the French and the Chinese both building their new carriers with these electromagnetic catapults, so we would literally be handing competitors an edge in modern tech and reverting our own fleet to the technology of the USS Nimitz. Make America 1975 again. Hell, we haven't purchased hydraulic systems for carriers in something like 20 years. And it would require an entire retrofit, an entire hydraulic system, just to support it. And Senator Mark Kelly, by the way, who's launched off the front of carriers hundreds of times, holds a master's in aeronautical engineering, and was an actual test pilot and astronaut. Even he says that he wouldn't tell the Navy how to engineer their ships. He told Jen Psaki that the president is a marginally failed real estate developer with multiple bankruptcies. And his post said that Trump should stick to what he knows best: ballrooms, bankruptcy, and bullshit. But yeah, think about that. The ballroom, the arch, the helipad. That's what's important to Trump. Not the man overboard call when sailors are jumping over because they have no food to eat. But you know what? Let's blame the magnets and the press. Do me a favor, subscribe, because we are going to keep following this story until that ship is finally home, and then accountability will follow.